Today I don't feel like doing anything. I just wanna lay in my bed. Don't feel like picking up my phone, so leave a message at the tone. 'Cause today I swear I'm not doing anything.
Gentle loving hugs, and thanks for tuning in to the Fibro Friends radio show here on healthinforadio.com, part of the Entertainment Global Media Network, broadcasting out of heavenly Clearwater, Florida. If you feel like doing nothing at all today, then just sit back or lie down. We're here to educate you with a full spectrum of information on fibro, advocate on the behalf of all fibro friends for fibro awareness and the need for more research, and support each other with laughter and love. New to fibro? Wonder what it is? Fibromyalgia is a complex chronic disorder involving a malfunction in how the brain processes pain, which leads to other multiple dysfunctions in the body. Some of the main symptoms of fibro are pain and fatigue, sleep disorder, memory and concentration, depression, digestive disorders, hypersensitivity. So today, you've tuned into Fibro Friends. So please welcome your host, Laura Rosa.
Hi, I am Laura Rosa here tonight with my guest of the evening, Sharon. Say hi, Sharon.
Hi, Laura. Hi, everybody.
Welcome to another event of Fibro Friends here in Tampa, Florida. Anyway, I think it's Clearwater. We're just getting off to our regular fibromyalgia start here. Our topic of the evening, with so much food being around the holidays, is going to be around the discussions of gluten-free food and what it may or may not do to our bodies, and other disorders in our digestive system. How fun and exciting is that topic, Sharon? It's good information.
Well, one of the big, or one of the symptoms of fibromyalgia is certainly GI symptoms.
Yeah.
And it certainly is something that flares up this time of year with Hanukkah and Christmas and New Year's and all the food and the parties and the families and everybody bringing all their special extra sweet and spicy treats.
Right.
And it's hard not to be tempted
Right.
to eat all those kind of foods. And so, you're already in a position where you're dealing with GI issues, and it's inevitable you're going to have a few little extra things going on if you do take that temptation and take some of those foods, which, I personally don't think there's anything wrong with doing that and treating yourself so long as it's in moderation.
I agree. I absolutely agree. You can't totally have your life live around a perfectly gluten-free, soy-free, whatever it is your lifestyle is found to work with your fibromyalgia. You've got to let yourself indulge once in a while and enjoy some of the passions of the holiday season. I think it's important for our mental health, but everything, like you said, in moderation. Don't eat the whole box. So,
well, and fibro patients have an abundance of unfriendly microbes or flora growing in their gut at all times.
now would you
Going
say
to have
that
symptoms of anything from celiac to IBS, IBD, GERD, colitis, bloating. If you've got something really significant flaring at this time, then you might want to shy away from some of the stuff. But you can certainly, if you're not, in the midst of a really bad flare period, to have a little bit. I did last night, and I paid a little bit today and last night, but it was worth it.
Was it a Christmas party by chance?
Pardon?
I said, was it from a Christmas party by chance?
Yes, it was.
Ah.
And as a matter of fact, it was one of my dishes that I made.
So, but you had an excuse to make it because you love it and you were going to share it. So that's what I do as well. one of those taboo dishes that I miss making. You know, it's that this is the time to share with our friends and family who can handle it better. So, what are your thoughts on leaky gut? Do you have any? We haven't discussed this previously.
Well, I mean, it's certainly there are so many. You know, when you consider that your digestive tract literally starts at your mouth. I mean, your enzymes and digestion begins in your mouth, and it literally ends at the anus. And every point from the mouth to the anus can have its own issues. Leaky gut is just another one of those things that can be going on, digestive issues and things, whether it involves the stomach itself, the duodenum, the small intestine. I mean, there's so much, it's almost impossible, certainly in a radio show with limited time, to get into all the different things.
Yes,
but,
yes. It's just
you know,
my primary care doctor, one of them, said he didn't believe in leaky gut. And I was really kind of surprised at his response because I've read so much literature.
I was going to say, there's an awful lot of
Yes.
information out there now, and an awful lot of studies have been done that it is absolutely, I mean, let's face it, there's a lot of doctors that don't really believe in fibromyalgia either. And, you know, the GI system, just like most of the body systems, they're learning new things every day.
Right.
And they're learning things that, you know, as they understand the different situations more thoroughly, and how things, you know, that need, I mean, we have things like bacteria and yeast and different flora and things in our system that we require in order to remain healthy. But in fibro patients, when there's an abundance and it starts to cause inflammation, it can set everything on its head and cause such a disruptive, from the liver to the pancreas. I mean, everything gets so thrown out of whack that digestive enzymes and juices can be changing, ulcerations. I mean,
we just
it's
know
impossible to, I think, really rule out anything at this point and not realize that there's people that are suffering so many different types of GI problems, and I think it's silly and ignorant in many ways to rule anything out at this point. Clearly, the digestive tract is involved, and we don't know enough.
Yes, that's correct. And for those who are not really familiar with some of the major tag along disorders that come with fibromyalgia, you know, there's a lot of people claiming diet is critical to enhancing the way you feel. There's a lot of controversy, and I believe that would come down to everybody responds differently in our fibromyalgia world. So it's not that somebody's right or wrong, but there's a percentage of people that are going to go on a gluten-free diet and get tremendous response where their inflammation will go down, they'll feel less depressed, they'll have more energy, they can sleep better, and there's others that will have no effect of taking gluten out of their diet. And therefore, it's really difficult to get valid studies because every fibro person is a little bit different than the next. And so I find that's a big challenge for our researchers out there who are trying to do these double-blind studies with our disorder. It's a very difficult thing.
And you know, the gastrointestinal system when you consider how many organs are involved and what a very long track it follows,
huge.
There is so much involved
in the
that
digestive.
It's an incredibly complicated. I mean, you can be seeing the best GI guys in the world group, and they're going to have their opinion, like you said. I mean, in every disease, whether it's the heart, the gastrointestinal system, the brain, even cancer, there's going to be things that are going to work for some, and even work for a while and then stop working.
That's another
There's
fun part
people
of it.
that'll tell you that olive leaf is one of the greatest things to
Olive
inhibit
leaf?
bacteria and
Really?
yeast. Go more the herbal or the extract route. And then others will say, no, I need to do more Western medicine and take something like Prilosec or Nexium, or maybe a blend of both.
Right.
I think everybody's a little different, and you have to kind of try out what works best.
Right.
There certainly are, though, one of your first steps that you want to do, as I'm sure most fibro people know, is getting tested for allergies. Is
good.
A huge, huge first step, because that can rule in and rule out allergies and problems with gluten and whey and some of the other big guns that you can eliminate from your diet if you have a problem with it very quickly.
If you don't have it, right, insurance, or you can't
that's
afford
one
it.
of your number one steps before you just start playing around and popping pills and herbs and extracts.
Right. The next step, I think, would be, if you're not able at this point to do that, is the elimination diet, where, basically, they say, well, I had to explain to me, for 3 months I was asked to take soy, whey, and dairy out of my diet. And then at the end of 3 months, I could start introducing one of them back in very small increments and keep a log on any changes. So it was able to totally detoxify my body from those 3 items, their categories, and then introduce them very slowly. It's a long process, and it takes a lot of patience, and it's hard not to want to cheat and have cheese some days, But that's one thing that a lot of doctors that's their go-to.
Well,
I mean,
that kind of process or theory has been around forever as far as drug holidays go. When people start to have issues especially if they're on a tremendous amount of medications, which you tend to see, especially with fibromyalgia, very often it's just common practice, and it's been around for as long as I can ever remember, is you go on what's called a drug holiday.
I was going to say, what is that?
A huge amount of, at least not the drugs that aren't absolutely critical and that you must have. And then you slowly introduce them, because that's the only way you're going to really be able to identify, once you've detoxified and rid your body of those chemicals. What? So, it could be both food and chemicals from medications.
Yes.
I mean, again, it's such a huge, complex, and it's very, very long, like you said, process. And you have to be patient, and you have to be willing to kind of do the work and be patient to do it.
And don't
if you
start
really
it
do
in the
believe
holidays.
Your diet's playing a big role. I know I've told you before, I was a Diet Coke-aholic. I drank a ridiculous amount of diet drinks. And just eliminating that, which was very hard.
It is.
I have to admit, I still once in a great while will cheat.
I saw you sneak one this weekend.
It did play an enormous role in making my whole GI system, which has multiple issues, feel a lot better. And I have had a lot less problems, and the inflammation has definitely improved. So, it's, again, a trial and error kind of thing.
Right.
And I think people kind of know, I mean, we all know just in our normal life, even if you don't have fibro or have a specific illness, there's certain foods that just make you feel lousy or give you a headache or give you a stomach ache or make you feel sluggish and bloated. So everybody kind of knows there's certain things in their diet that they really need to stay away from or limit.
Or have to deal with the consequences.
You just have to be more aggressive with that process when you have a chronic illness.
Yep, that's right. And you know after a while what's going to get you and what you can get away with, and you just get to choose whether you want it enough to pay the price and knock yourself out.
And the big thing is the inflammation. When you're going through a really bad flare time,
Right.
whether you're experiencing it through pain or your fibro fog's exceptionally bad, or intestinally, your bowel movements, your digestion. When your body is really in a very high inflammatory state, those are the times to really kind of back off and protect your body.
And just eat
Give
the
it a chance
very
to
simple
just
foods.
kind of rest and be gentle with it.
It's so
You don't
important.
necessarily have to go to extremes of cleansing,
No,
but a lot of people believe in that too.
that's harsh on your
And
body.
even, pardon?
Isn't that kind of harsh on your body to go through a cleansing?
Well, again, there's two schools of thought. A lot of people believe that purging yourself and detoxifying and purging and going on fasting and things like that and doing
Right.
different cleansing processes, whether it's colonics and different things like that,
Right.
they can certainly be very extreme. There's also people that will swear by it. So again, everybody,
Gotcha.
not one of us is going to have the exact same recipe.
We leave you with another vague answer. That's kind of
Yeah,
the world of
and
fibromyalgia.
that's kind of the name of the game with fibro.
Yep.
It is very vague in many ways and mysterious, and we don't have all the answers. I don't know if we're ever going to completely have answers for autoimmune and diseases that involve inflammatory processes. We're not there yet. We just
Right.
don't have the technology and the understanding of it,
Right.
and it's just a lot of trial and error.
Right.
There's no doubt about it.
Yes, it is. It takes a lot of patience to get through it. So if you're just tuning in here, you're live on the air with Tampa, our fibro friends here, and we're talking about digestive disorders. If anybody wants to call in, they can dial 727-423-2055, just for a mid-break there. And we have Sharon, which I actually didn't properly introduce you. Sharon is a registered nurse who's had several years of hands-on hospital nursing treatment experience, as well as a person with fibromyalgia and other significant health challenges. But your insight has been, you've been on our show several times, has been very helpful with your background. So
Thank
I
you.
just want to give a little quick midway shout out there about what we're doing. So we're discussing the holidays and food, and do you want to take the chance and eat those cookies and pay the price, or do you want to stick to your diet?
Well, and you know what? There's people that every day they're developing a new symptom, or they're
Yeah.
coming up down with another problem, or maybe it's been going on for a while and they haven't been even diagnosed yet. But the holidays, all of a sudden, they suddenly experience a flare. They just don't know what it's a flare of.
Right. It's the
And
flu.
again, that's where I kind of go back to where when you started seeing, you're having some digestive tract issues, there is such a multitude
Yeah.
of things it could be.
Yep.
And fibro may not even come into play or even
It's
be mentioned
probably the
until a
last
lot of
place
other things are discovered.
that they're
And
looking.
each and every one of those things in itself can be very, very serious.
Yes,
So
Crohn's disease
besides
is another.
taking, a big look at, first of all, if you have any allergies to foods or to meds, you also are going to want to be looking at your thyroid, your adrenal gland. These are things you need to discuss with your doctor.
Right.
Your whole metabolic, it is a metabolic condition. And, if you notice that, especially since you're eating, usually a pretty wide variety of unusual things you might not eat any other time of year, and you start to notice that you're having some new issues or something's going on suddenly with the GI tract,
Right.
that's something to definitely make note of and let your physician know, because there certainly are very good tests available if you make sure that you're very clear and you explain your symptoms to them thoroughly enough.
And make them listen. If they're not listening, you do not have a very good doctor. It's just remember,
That
they work for you.
that's
I want to
right.
keep
That's
saying
right.
that. I'm sure 98% of people out there have doctors that they love and they're comfortable with, but this is just, it's such an intricate part of our system. And maybe it's uncomfortable to discuss with your doctor. And I say, get over it and tell them everything that's going on with your digestive system, because there's a key in there that he may hear that may be able to drive him in the right direction to making you feel
Well,
better.
and I think too, a lot of people are going to go to their family doctor, their primary care physician, and
Right.
truthfully, if they're going into their PCP to discuss something, especially GI, and they're talking about, maybe they're having severe diarrhea or they're having
Right.
severe constipation, or they're passing, medications or food whole.
Right.
There's
Not
they're
absorbing
vomiting,
it.
nauseated. There's such a huge variety. Maybe they have pain in their esophagus, and it could be
And
due
that's
to
part of the
ulcers.
digestive system, as a reminder. Correct.
The thing that really the PCP should be doing, especially since it's clearly throwing up a red flag that
Right.
there's obviously some sort of systemic inflammation going on here, is probably refer them to a gastrointestinal specialist.
Right. And
Because
do
they're the
that.
ones that then are going to, if you haven't had a colonoscopy, they might want to start there. They might want to start with an endoscopy. It really is going to, might even be something as simple as a sonogram or an upper
Sure.
GI. But again, depending on what your symptoms are, you don't want to ignore it. You don't want to be taking over-the-counter medications and just trying to blow it off and
Take care
pretend
of it on
nothing's
yourself.
going on and it'll go away. If
Sometimes
you've
it's
got something
cancer.
that's new and significant happening, especially if it's, around the holidays with some new foods or some, there definitely is excessive drinking. Let's face
Yes.
it, at most parties this time of year,
This is
that
the biggest
can be
time of year to
playing
drink.
a role
Right.
in some issues. You've really got to kind of press them, and if they don't seem to be taking it serious, that's when you might want to say to them, how do you feel about a referral to see a GI specialist?
Right.
Because they're going to take it to that next level
Mhm.
and to do those tests and order those tests that are necessary.
And they are. The men seem to be the more challenging ones to get them to go to a doctor when they've got issues showing up. They, and sadly, I lost my an in-law. I should just leave it at that. To colon cancer, and if he had had routine colonoscopies, I'm sure it would have been caught earlier, and he could have had it resolved. So those things are so important to keep up just general maintenance on your body. We're quicker to change our oil than we are to get our own, yearly checkup. So
Yeah.
that's kind of the way it's been for past 50, 60 years and longer.
And that's the thing, unfortunately, with GI issues, whether it's GERD, esophageal ulcers, any kind of form of, whether it's any form of colitis really, or ulcerations, or even hemorrhoids, all of those things, if they've been discovered, are potentials and can leave you in a position where you're definitely predisposed to potentially having cancer down the line.
Absolutely.
So if you've got that if you have a family history, if you have different issues that, you're noticing any kind of dark stools, blood certainly.
Big red
So
flags.
anything really GI going on,
Right.
because it involves so many organs, it really is important to have it checked out.
It is.
So in many ways, fibromyalgia flares can be huge flags to say, yes, go get
Right.
yourself checked, because it might be warning you of something else going on.
Right.
And I don't say that to scare anyone.
Just a wake-up
It's
call.
just that it really is something you can't ignore. You really need to take it serious. And
Yes.
I think, like you said, a lot of times people just have heartburn. They'll think, oh, it's something I ate, or I just was eating or drinking too much or something.
Right.
But I really think it needs to be paid attention to, and have the allergy tests and any other further things that need to be tested as soon as possible.
You know, while we're talking about this, I would like to add something that I pulled off the internet today. A very resourceful and very I'm really struggling for words tonight. Reliable website, um, and I'm going back to gluten because really that's such a buzzword today with people and diet, and you have a gluten-free menu, and people are actually saying yes, we do. So, but this really took it a little further than I was aware of. It says that neurological problems may be a prominent gluten sensitivity symptom. Just as with celiac disease, gluten sensitivities can cause fatigue, brain fog, and other cognitive problems, including gluten-related attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. I'm like, wow, headaches, including gluten-induced migraines, and let's see, brain fog in about one third of the people diagnosed with no celiac gluten sensitivity, far more than the celiac disease people diagnosed with gluten sensitivity, as reported feeling of gluten-induced depression and anxiety. And then it goes on to talk about skin problems, the endocrine disorders, the joint and pain, all common of gluten sensitivity. So I say that because don't take it lightly, like it's just a food that may cause you to have more diarrhea or constipation, but look into it for yourself to make sure that you do or you do not have a gluten sensitivity so that you can act accordingly and
Actually,
remove it.
gluten and wheat,
Wheat is right.
both
I'm
of
just
them.
pulled up focusing on gluten, but wheat has to
Those
be
those are
very
really two of the big guns that, and the nice thing is that there's actually a ton of information online now that you can get recipes and
yes, yes,
really finally find the foods
yes.
that are gluten free. Read your labels though. Make sure that, we all know that labels aren't necessarily truthful.
Right.
So really take a look at your ingredients if you're buying
That's
something that's
really,
prepackaged.
really
And,
important. Right.
a lot of us, as fibro people, it's very difficult to stand and make homemade meals and fresh meals.
It is
Um,
when you're what
and
I call a
we're not
non-functioning
well enough
fibro.
to do that
Right.
or strong enough or there's too much pain. But there are finally even some cereals and some different packaged foods that are truly gluten-free.
Yes.
But there's everything from meals to desserts, fabulous
Mm-hmm.
desserts that are now gluten-free. And you can get the products, you can get the flour, you can get the different
Yes.
things you need to make some really decent and tasty foods.
Right.
So you don't have to think that you're going to have to just live on lettuce
And
or kale or something
yes.
like that.
And I think the prices will start to come down. I know this food costs a little bit extra to pay for than our regular flours, but if it's really disrupting your body that much, you might have to bite the bullet and stick with it until they can. It's going to just be. I feel like the more and more people that are becoming aware of it, it's going to drive the price down regardless. Is
Yeah.
is there any last words you'd like to add, Sharon? We've got just a couple minutes left here before the show's over. Um,
Just, again, moderation. Absolutely everything needs to be in moderation, whether
okay.
you're in a flare period or you're feeling really good. Just moderation this holiday season so
Okay.
that you don't end up spoiling your holidays because you went a little too overboard on any level. And if you
Exactly.
do notice some symptoms, please don't wait. Get them checked out.
Absolutely.
Better to be safe than sorry, and
Yeah.
you never know.
Right.
You might be saving yourself or saving someone else's life if something else is going on.
Yes. So that's our message today. Enjoy your holidays and eat and enjoy and have fun and celebrate to your level of ability, and just keep a watchful eye to take care of yourself and know when to stop and slow down and take a rest. And we will be back on the air. We're going to be gone next week. We'll be back next year. So, 2? They're giving me mixed signals
We'll
here on our
see you
time.
next year.
We'll be back in 2 weeks.
Happy holidays, everybody.
Okay, well, thank you. Not 2 minutes. Good. Yes, this is Laura, Fibro Friend Fog going. Yeah. So you guys have a great holiday. And Sharon, once again, thanks for being on our show. You're always
You're
this wonderful guest. And I look forward to getting back with you next year. Get this
okay.
moving forward again. All right, everyone.
Thank
Take care
you.
and good night.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
bye-bye.
Remember, fibromyalgia can strike any person at any age. If you feel that you may be suffering from fibromyalgia, please contact your medical provider as soon as possible for proper diagnosis and a treatment plan that works for you. We are not a replacement for professional medical advice, but we are your fibro friends for advocacy and education and support. We encourage you to share via email, Facebook, or Twitter through a link from any of our shows that can be found on our website at fibrofriendsradioshow.com and on Facebook at Fibro Friends Radio Show, with your doctor's support system of friends and family and your fellow fibro friends. Remember, laughter is still the best medicine, so share the fibro funny today and keep a smile on your face and in your heart. So pass this Fibro Friends smiling, gentle hug full of love to someone in pain today, because it's always the love that heals.